I've put together the most powerful tactics to outsmart everyone, whether it's in debates, everyday life, or just to get a competitive edge. Some of these tactics can be a bit manipulative, so use them wisely. And stick around until the end, because I've got a surprise for you. Let's start with the first one, active listening. It's a common misconception that battle of wits is down to who is smarter, but it's not. It's really about who can read the other person better and plan ahead. And that's where active listening comes in. When someone feels heard, they're way more likely to trust you because they sense that your intentions are genuine. Active listening involves eye contact, gestures, facial expressions, and verbalization. Keeping eye contact while the other person is talking shows that you are focused on the conversation and is a sign of respect and interest. The way you move and position yourself during a conversation says more than you think. Nodding, leaning in slightly, or smiling at the right moments are all powerful signals that show you're paying attention and that you care. The words you use while listening are equally important because it shows you're tuned in not just to the words, but to the emotions behind them. Once you connect on that level and truly understand the other person's perspective, you can actually formulate your argument. A solid argument has three main components: the premise, the main idea you're building on, the reasoning, the logical connections between your premise and conclusion, which is the final point you're trying to prove. Logos technique. This technique involves using evidence to back up your point of view. If you're trying to convince someone that a product works, just saying it's great isn't enough. You need to back it up with actual proof that supports your claim. In the previous example, if you can prove that exercise benefits the mind, your argument becomes unbeatable. Always make sure your sources are reliable and that the information is backed by recognized authorities, not just opinions. With this approach, you show that you know what you are talking about, and people will be more likely to listen to you. Lateral thinking. Lateral thinking encourages looking at a problem from different angles. Instead of following the usual straight line approach, this method pushes you to think outside the box and challenge common solutions. So before jumping into problem solving, ask yourself questions that shift your perspective. This helps you stay ahead of others, find quicker solutions, and come across as more sharp-minded. In a world where everyone is rushing in the same direction, the real winning move is being the one who takes a different path. Fear versus love. Not long ago, I came across this quote from Machiavelli that really got me thinking. In this book, he explains how fear earns respect and consistent results, while love is unreliable because it depends on people's gratitude and loyalty, which can fail when the situation changes. But beware. Fear does not mean being overbearing or aggressive, but showing that you have a deep knowledge of the topic you are talking about. Because when someone realizes that you know what you're talking about, they'll think twice before challenging you. This way, your solid preparation creates a psychological barrier that helps you earn the respect of others. Strategy versus brute force. Machiavelli also emphasizes how in some cases, it is more effective to use strategy rather than brute force. This approach is especially useful when dealing with a narcissist. Narcissists are skilled manipulators and love flipping the script to play the victim. So trying to win at their game and letting emotions take over is always a bad idea. Outsmart a narcissist doesn't mean winning a direct battle, but making their game ineffective without even participating in it. And one of the most effective ways to do this is through the gray rock technique. When he tries to provoke you, respond with neutral sentences and avoid explaining yourself, defending your actions, or showing frustration. At the same time, be unpredictable, showing mild interest in trivial topics, but remaining disengaged when it comes to something emotionally charged. Leverage social proof. People naturally look for validation in what others are doing, especially when they're unsure. The idea is that if something's widely accepted, it must be the right move. Using lines like, "A lot of people are already doing this," automatically lowers resistance, because nobody wants to feel left out, or like they're making an unpopular choice. The preemptive strike. The preemptive move is a communication strategy that lets you take control of a situation by anticipating how others might react. This approach not only shows confidence and preparation, but it seriously cuts down the power others have when they try to give you a hard time. Before you present something, think about the possible objections and questions the other person might have, and get solid answers ready. It's like dodging punches before they're even thrown. The dumb strategy. Basically, you act like you don't know everything, then surprising them with your knowledge. When you lower people's expectations of you, you create an environment where they feel less defensive. In that state, people tend to share more than they mean to, thinking they're running the conversation. And when you spot a flaw in what they're saying, that's your moment to strike. The power of silence. Silence is a real psychological weapon. When you stay quiet for a few seconds after someone's finished talking, you create this subtle tension. It forces them to second guess what they just said, worried you're analyzing their words more deeply. And it can lead him to contradict himself, clarify weaknesses, or even reveal insecurities. The pause doesn't have to be long enough to feel awkward, just long enough to make them think. Use their logic against them. Smart people tend to rely on logic. One effective way to throw them off is by using the reductio ad absurdum technique. Basically, you take their argument and apply it to a different scenario to push it to an absurd conclusion. For example, if someone says playing video games is just a waste of time, you could hit back with, what about people who make a living as streamers? This forces them to admit their statement isn't universally true. The goal here is twofold. Flip the situation and make them question the strength of their own logic. Appeal to their ego. We all have an ego. It's that part of us that wants to feel valued. A well-timed compliment can lower someone's guard and make them more open to what you have to say. The key is to find the right balance. An excessive compliment may seem disingenuous, while one that is too general may go unnoticed. You've got to pinpoint something specific the other person is proud of and use that to empathize. As I promised, I put together a file with all the logical fallacies, including examples on how to use them and how to debunk them. You can find it in the description. And remember, these techniques can give you an edge, but they should never be used to harm others. The real power lies in understanding people, making smarter decisions, and navigating life with confidence.